Oh. Hello everybody. How are you? If someone could just drop me a little note, let me know that you can hear me because I've got a different microphone set up tonight and I want to make sure that everything's working before we get started. Anyone? Can you hear? Can you hear, Ian? Yeah, all right, okay, cool. There we go. So, hi guys, and welcome to the live stream. So, a bit of a pre-season live stream here. I got some really good feedback off the live stream, and although it was terrifying last time I did it, it was kind of fun. So, I thought I'd do one again, to be honest with you, because I had a fair few questions that had come in that I'd not answered. So I thought I'll go through some of them. And since then, I've also had some more questions as well. And as it said in the title, I've got a couple of things I'm going to ask you. So before we get started, I want you to have a little think about this, okay? Because this is my first question to you. Do you know of any hard boat in the UK that's operating with a ladder rather than lift? So that's hard boat, not a rib, that's got a ladder versus a lift, okay? So if you can think of any, leave it down in the chat. If you can't think of anything, then, or you can't think of one, you don't know of one, then put I don't know of one in the chat as well, because I'm going to get onto that a little bit later because, yeah, I kind of butted heads with somebody a few months ago. And it's kind of, I just want to make sure that my feelings on it aren't so far out there as to be like really weird. So let me know. UK hard boats with a dive ladder, go. But anyway, so what we'll do, hi, Brian. Good to see you, Brian. Dave Diver, hello, mate. You've not heard of one. Warm Apple, no, don't know of one. So yeah, rack your brains, guys. Do you know any hard boats with a dive ladder? And I'll explain that to you shortly. But what we're going to do is I'm going to crack on with one of these questions. If you've got a question to ask, anything, leave it down below. And talking about a question about anything, I'm going to do one that made me laugh. And it's got nothing to do with scuba diving. And the question is, am I a red sauce man or a brown sauce man? And I thought that was interesting. And oh, shut up, Siri. I hate this Apple Watch. Controversially, I'm a no sauce guy. I'm assuming this is in relation to sausage butties and bacon butties and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't do sauce. If I put like any kind of sauce on anything, then I can just taste the sauce. Which, you know, if you've got a nice bacon butty or something, you kind of lose the edge with it. You can't taste the bacon, which is a complete waste of time, isn't it? So it has to be. So I'm definitely a no sauce kind of guy. So anyway, that was one. On to a more scuba diving related topic. Dive with Matt, who's, I don't think he's here today. If you're here, Matt, say hi. If you're not, then I'm going to answer your question for you anyway. But he did ask me a question: is what is my favorite course to teach? And I've got to be honest. That's a tough question. I like teaching a lot of the courses, BSAT courses that we do. I think it probably has to be probably dive leader, or certainly sections of dive leader. And yay, hi, Bad. Both on the iPad and the phone. Well, getting double your money's worth, Matt. I should start charging you more. But yeah, so this is your question, pal, from last time. Yeah, dive leader. And there's somebody on here, Mr. Warm Apple, who I taught a particular bit of this, and I'm going to refer to for him. His actual name's Ian, and he's a member of the club. And it's always fun teaching the chart work and position fixing, especially if it's a club member, and especially if that club's got a rib, because as part of that course, you have to teach how to look at nautical charts, okay? And nautical charts to the uninitiated are kind of a bizarre mix of squiggly lines, random letters, and funky symbols, really. And deciphering that for people is quite fun, especially when they realize what knowing about a nautical chart will let them do. Okay, so like my friend Ian here, who's on today, you saw his little eyes light up when he worked out that all these little circles with a number in them were marked wrecks or potentially marked wrecks. And when you start telling people, well, yeah, most of these haven't been dived, so you can't tell. Some of them have, and we get the marks for it. But you can literally go out into, especially up here on the East Coast, there are thousands of these marked wrecks, and only a fraction of them, even today, have been dived. So it's really good to see people sort of light up and realize that you're giving them some knowledge and you're giving them some power. Do you know what I mean? And some sort of something they can work towards if they want to, kind of thing. So I always enjoy teaching those courses. I very much like teaching the more practical courses, such like compressor operator. And such like, because I think it's really important to demystify some of the stuff that dive centers sort of do sometimes, like mixing gas. It's like some magical dark art that they do. It's not really, it's just, squirting so many bar in and topping it up with so many other bar. But to the new and uninitiated, it seems like some kind of witchcraft to do gas blending. So I think that kind of thing for me anyway is just empowering people and demystifying people from some of the stuff that that some unscrupulous people have, not even unscrupulous, but some of the industry likes to sort of make out is a bit sort of super technical, and it's really not. So I really like doing that. So I'm just going through some of the comments here. Dave saying after retracting many messages, he's not heard of any. Yeah, Matt, while you're here, dive with Matt, and also Mr. Rivet. I asked a question earlier for anybody who's turned up already. Do you know of a hard boat that doesn't have a lift that's operating in the UK? And I'll get onto that in a little bit later. Why? But if you've heard of one, let me know down below. If you've not heard of one, let me know down below, okay? Because I'm going to talk about that a bit later. Brian, Andy, have you been to the Delph? Am I going this weekend? I have been to the Delph, Brian, and no, I'm not going this weekend. I've had far too much on the last few weekends, and I'm taking a well-deserved weekend off. So no diving, very dry this weekend, catching up on a few things, and yes, so no, I'm not doing anywhere. Yeah, the Delph, yeah, for me, it's okay. I've only been a couple of times, I've got to be honest. Cape and Ray's not too far away, and normally when I'm doing training, which is normally the reason that I go to these places nowadays, is to teach. It's just a better place. There's more to do, and that sort of big 6-meter shelf at Cape and Ray is super safe. And also, the last time I went anyway, the changing rooms at the Delph were frankly horrifying. It was just basically a shed with open doors, and it was absolutely freezing. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. I don't mind going to the Delph, but given the choice, I'd rather go to Cape and Ray. Seeing as the equidistance for me, yeah, it's always Cape and Ray. So I don't knock it, but it's just not my choice. David, nice jumper. I have the grey one. I had 3. I literally chucked one away this weekend because I've lost weight and it's too big now. But I've got the blue one and the orange one, and I'm going to tell you a little story here. I'm a big fan of weird fish tops, mainly because they do them in sizes that fit me when I was at my biggest. But I've just had a grey one on, Dave, weirdly, and I sat here just checking the camera situation out, and literally all you could see was my head, because the grey was exactly the same grey as the curtain, which is now the same grey as the wall. So it just looked a bit too colour coordinated. So I've been changing to this blue one for you. So I'm glad you appreciate it. It's all good. So right. So yeah, and Cape and Ray is hard to beat. I do like Stony as well. That has its uses. So yeah, we'll go on. Right, just checking through. No, I think lifts with hard boats in the UK is standard. Yes, I think so too, Matt. But we shall get onto that. We'll get onto that. Right, I'm going to do another question. What is the stupidest thing I've done whilst diving? And also, what is the stupidest thing I've seen done whilst diving? That's interesting. The stupidest thing I've done. The stupidest thing I've done, I guess, is when I was really new, I let somebody take me on a dive that I shouldn't have done, and I literally ran out of air as I broke the surface to get back on the boat. Literally sucked the tank dry, and that was a stupid thing to do. It was a noob thing to do. I was with what I thought at the time was a very experienced and a very senior member of the club, and we'd been down to sort of let's put it this way, it was the rich side of 50 meters, and I shouldn't have been down there, and I shouldn't have been down there on a single 15, and that's what I was on, and it was a bit daft, and I got away with that by the skin of my teeth, yeah, that was a really dumbass thing to do. What's the stupidest thing I've seen? Well, there's lots. We've got a club member in our club who regularly likes jumping in without doing his dry zip up. So that's quite always entertaining, but he's kind of done it that many times now that it's really boring. So I think the stupidest thing I've seen done, and I don't know if this is stupid, but it was quite funny for me at the time anyway. But we were in Cape Henry, and for those that have been diving for a little while, and have known Cape Henry for a little while, they've got the container with the Cessna on it, and I think they call it the BOP, but there's the bit like oil rig thing. Well, a few years ago, that container, well, not a few years ago, that container is falling to bits. It's like a sieve. It's foil thin. And if you swim, if you fin through it and have a look, you can see through the sidewalls where it's rusting away. Now, the roof was in the same state. And I kind of was not happy swimming through it anymore. I know it's like the corners of the containers that are the structural support, but like the BOP is just kind of in the middle, isn't it? And I must have thought, I certainly thought a few times that it's not going to be long before that comes through and lands on somebody, and it's not going to be me. So I stopped swimming through that. Now, credit to the guys and girls at Cape and Ray. They must have been down and seen the same, or they've listened to people saying it's getting a bit sketchy, because they took everything off it and they've put like a reinforced piece on it, like a new roof. So and then put everything back. But while they did that, they took the BOP off and put it next to the container. So it was perfect at the time. I was doing, it must have been some sports diver training where we were doing lining out, we were tying off and lining out. And because it was literally only sort of maybe 6 or 8 feet away, we lined out from the container over to the BOP and then around something else. And what was really interesting is that, and I find this quite interesting with Rebreathe the divers, that they all sit there and Twitter on like they're superhuman people or something. If there's any rebreathers here, I apologize, but you do, okay? About how much noise open circuit divers make. Okay, you're so noisy, we can hear from miles away. Then once they get a bit of money, they buy one of them bloody scooters. Okay, and have you heard one of them going underwater? It's like a fucking jet engine. It drowns out any bloody open thing going around the arse. So but anyway, I heard this noise, this scooter noise, and I saw this rebreather come whipping around the container, and he was just knobbing about. Do you know what I mean? But of course, we got this wire going from the container to the BOP, this line. And he didn't see it, unfortunately, until it caught him right in the loop. And I'm not sure, it didn't knock him off his scooter, obviously, because they're on a thing, but he just stopped and went backwards. The scooter shot up in the air, in the water, I guess. Yeah, it took him a couple of seconds to realize what had gone on. And that was quite funny. Now, he did sort of like, look around grumpily, spot us, and then like scooter off. But it was funny. Now, I did go around the car park when we got out to try and look for the guy and apologize, but either he'd like put himself in his car and buggered off, or I honestly, I just couldn't find him. But it was definitely, it was fun. So lesson for that, for the rebreather divers out there, Matt and Brian, yeah. If you've got a scooter, don't run around like on a dickhead, because you never know who set a trap up for you. Probably me, to be honest with you. So that was quite funny. But yeah, dry zip open, that's always a good one, isn't it? So that's that. Right, let's see what we got question-wise in here. Just going to scroll up a second, guys. Putting a crab arm in your pocket. That's from Warm Apple. Yeah, we did have a member last year. I think did he win the Clownfish of the Year trophy? And I think he did. He basically found this massive crab claw that was clearly rotting, put it in his pocket to bring up to show everybody on the boat. Like, I don't know why we're interested in the crab claw, but whatever. But it was rotting. So he got back on the boat, and the stink was unbelievable. And it took him about 10 minutes to realise it was him that was stinking. So there we are. What's the least piece of kit you have? The least expensive bit of kit you had and would recommend? Ooh, least expensive bit of kit. Probably a dive knife, mate. In it, it's probably that. I like them Scuba Pro Shore Locks. I think they're about 30 quid, and they're brilliant. And I've had one in my single set since I bought it. It's probably about 10 years old, and it is still as good as it was the day it was done, mate. Don't rust, don't blunt. Cracking bit of kit. So yeah, get yourself a good dive knife, guys. Last your lifetime. Oh, David. Hey, David, you all right, pal? First time. Yeah, good to see you too, mate. Question for me. Okay, his son has a twin set dive recreational level, and he's been diving now for about 6 years. He's looking at going inverted on the twins. Ooh, yeah. It's not very often you see a set of inverts, isn't it? I saw a few pictures, must have been on one of the social medias yesterday, day before, with a set of inverts. I only know one guy, a chap called Rob Mason from Dearne Valley or Barnsley Club. I think it's Dearne Valley, but might be Barnsley. It's down that way anyway, who dives inverted. What are the pros and cons of going inverted? The pros are all to do, as far as I know, I've never done it, but talking to Rob, who has them, it's all about reaching your valves. Okay, if you can't do this and reach all the way back and do it, which I couldn't, that's why I got a slob knob. I could reach the valves here, but it's the manifold you need to get hold of, isn't it? If you can't do that, inverting them puts them at the bottom of your back, and then it's dead easy. You just lean round and there they are. You do have to have a slob knob to reach the manifold, because that's pretty impossible to reach when you have them inverted. But it's all about reaching those knobs in case there's an emergency to do your shutdown drills. So the cons, I think the only cons really are it can be quite expensive to set up. For the simple reason is you normally need custom length hoses, because you can't buy a standard hose that will go in the top and all the way down to the first stages, which are on the bottom. So you can get them. I think Apex used to do them when the factory was in the UK. I don't know about now, mate. You'd have to check. But yeah, you can get custom made braided hoses of any length, but like anything that you say is custom, it's extraordinarily expensive comparative to a standard length hose. One other pro is obviously with your custom length hoses, you can literally run them straight up through the middle of the twins, and they sort of come out in the middle. So hose routing is supremely efficient and very, very nice indeed. So yeah, that would be my take on it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If I may, dive with Matt. You're certainly getting your money's worth here, pal, aren't you? Getting your money's worth. As a DM with Paddy, if I was to cross over to BSEC, I believe I'd be a dive leader, as I'd be trained to theoretically dive down to 50 meters. Right, I'd need to check this one, mate. I thought you would probably cross over as dive leader. You would have to look at the tables, and again, there's no point looking at the Paddy tables, because the Paddy tables are different to the BSAT table. Look at the BSAT table, see what it cross over to. I think a dive leader can go down to 56 meters, which is the maximum MOD for air on a PPO2 of 1.4. I think that's the case, but I'd have to double check that, because the rules on these things change from time to time. I know when I passed my dive leader, it let me go down to, my post-qualification experience would take me down to 56 meters. So technically I'm qualified to go down to 56 meters. As an advanced diver. So would that be you? Yeah, possibly so. Yeah, I can come back to you on that. Presumably on trimix is fairly common on the BSAC when you're doing your pro course. No. No, Matt, where have you been? BSAC were 30 years late to nitrox, mate. BSAC are not great when it comes to technical courses. I've got to be honest. A big BSAC fan now. Well, obviously very BSAC myself, running the club, and I think it's the club structure for me. I'm not particularly like pro BSAC courses, but no, there's not a lot of trimix. And to be honest with you, I think open circuit trimix is probably dead, to be honest with you, just because of the vast cost of it. I mean, for example, I've literally ordered some oxygen cylinders from BOC today for the club. It's the first time the club's going to have the capacity to blend its own nitrox. And when you go on the BOC website, if you go to sign up a new account, there is a big slapping banner across the front that says we are not taking on any more customers for either CO2 or for helium. And the one for helium has been there for a long time. They will not supply you helium anymore because it is just so vastly expensive. So I just think if that's where you want to go, 50 meters plus, which is going to require trimix, then a full-blown CCR makes a lot of sense really quickly. I know it's a lot of upfront costs and a lot of upfront training costs, but if you're going to do that type of diving fairly regularly, then a CCR very quickly pays for itself when it comes to using helium. So yeah, would I recommend doing BSAC for doing a CCR? Don't know. Do your research, mate. It is the best I can say. Speak to a few people that have done it. Go on some of the BSAC Tritech events and have a chat with them as well, because needless to say, they'll be swinging around at some point this year as well. So get yourself off up to either Stony or Capernwray. I don't know if they come down as far as Vobster, probably, but with it being Cheshire based, I don't know. But that'd be my suggestion, mate. Go and have a word with the experts. What else we got? Any more videos, Brian? Yes, mate. Yes, literally this weekend. I've just been saying to my friend Matt Rivet, Scuba Life, he is on here. We went and did a dive this weekend. Matt took me to Stony. We met up and we had a good couple of dives. That's a lie. We had a bad couple of dives because it was chuffing freezing. Stony, the coldest I've ever seen it, but we shot a little bit of video. I'm getting a lot of questions, as you would expect, on the unit on how much does it bubble and how to set it up. So I'm going to deal with that first question in the video that we took with Matt. Matt, I give the sort of GoPro over to Matt, and he took some really nice shots of me actually swimming down the side of the Steingarth, where there's me off to the left, and then you see some open circuit divers in the Steingarth, and it's a fantastic comparison about the few little squeaky bubbles coming out of me, and then the vast, piles of bubbles coming out of the open circuits as a real comparison of, what the differences is. Just to let you know, on that dive I think we did 54 minutes, Matt, didn't we, on the first dive? And then because we were bloody freezing, I think we did 30 minutes on the other dive. So about an hour and a half, and I used 80 bar in the cylinder. So that's how much gas it uses. So yeah, plenty more videos on that coming up, mate. The buoyancy is getting slightly better. I'm not sure I'm working out or just getting better, but it's getting there. But yeah, once I get the cylinders back that I'm going to use with the unit properly, they're away for O2 clean and repaint because they were just looking a bit scratty. So as soon as I get them back, then I can start diving with the cylinders that I'm going to use regularly and get everything a bit more worked out. But yeah, plenty more videos to come on that, mate. So good. We do not. Yeah, Brian, you're a rebreather. Yes, you do. You always moan about open circuit divers. You see, Matt's already confessed to it, and so. Yeah, pesky OC dive. It is weird, isn't it? It is weird. Now, I've swore blind I'm not going to be one of those that gets kind of, and I'm not knocking you guys. I know Matt. I know he's like, I don't know you, Brian, but I'm sure you're fine. But you do get those rebreather divers. They get a bit snooty with it, don't they? But saying that, I know where they're coming from, because when I was doing the course, me and the instructor were finning around, and we were going around, and suddenly I could hear bubbles. Okay, and again, one of the things, it's a new unit to me. I'm a bit paranoid about it, and I start doing this, because I'm trying to feel, is that me bubbling? I'm looking at the controller, thinking, well, it shouldn't be bubbling. And I should explain that every 5 minutes the unit does a gas test, so it squirts some of the bottom gas onto the gas that you're using onto a sensor to do a test. So every 5 minutes you get an extra bit of bubbling, and it just sounded like a lot of bubbling. So I was doing all this anyway. Then the instructor turned around. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I can hear bubbles," and it's like over there, and just in the distance you can just see a torch, and it was quite a distance. And yeah, it was them that I could hear bubbling. So I know where it comes from, but I don't think you can. I don't even moan at them about it. You know what I mean? I was doing it for 10 years. But but yeah, I know where that comes from. So, Ellen, hi, Ellen, you're right, mate. The guy who forgets to do his dry zippy. We've got lots of nicknames for Vince. I've got to be honest. The plow being the main one. Yeah. If you ever dive with my friend Vince, he's at the back, because if there's anyone behind him, they're not going to see anything. So it's good to see. So yeah, good to see you, David. No, you're welcome, mate. Like I said, I'm not an expert at inverts. Definitely, if you see somebody doing it, or if you know somebody doing it, go and have a good chat with them and see what their take on is it. Like I say, I was just fascinated with it. Oh yeah, just one more thing. With inverts, you do have to have that halo, because obviously when you sit your unit down, you don't want it sat on the valves, which you would do. So you do have to have one of them like custom divers halos as well. So that's another thing that's popped in my head. Am I enjoying the unit? That's a really interesting question, Brian. Am I enjoying the unit? I think the pause probably says it all, doesn't it? Not at the moment. Yeah. That's a lie. I am enjoying it, but I'm sure there's more enjoyment to get out of it, if that makes sense. I'm still finding it a little bit of a battle. It might be because I'm a bit of a perfectionist with myself. As I said, it's just very, very different to what I'm used to. Do you know what I mean? It's very different, and it is like going back to being sort of a newbie kind of thing, and it is for me it's frustrating. But like I said, it's not going to put me off. I will persevere. I will learn to love it, and I will master it. It will be conquered, and then I should become the master of everything. So it will be fine. I'm just in that stage. Like when you get a new mobile phone, I mean, if you ever swapped from Apple to Google or Google to Apple, it all does the same thing, just in a slightly different way. And it's that frustration of, how do I get it to do what I wanted to do at the moment? So, right, just a slurm of tea. I think we're caught up with the comments, so we shall go on to another question. Have we asked this already? What's the next kit purchase? Yeah, somebody messaged me and said, what's the next bit of kit? Nothing major at the moment. The wife's quite forgiven me for the unit just yet. Although we have had the carpet and the sofas on its way, so I've got that to pay for anyway. I guess the next bit of kit is probably there's two things really. I think my trusty metal sub torch is finally kind of giving up the ghost. Charging it is becoming more and more difficult. I can keep on having to unplug it and replug it to get it to charge. I've replaced the cells in it already, and I think it's probably just more the circuitry that's going, to be honest with you. So it's probably just coming to the end of its life, which is a real shame, because I love that torch. It's done me for years. And I'll probably just replace it with another metal sub variant, to be honest with you, because I'm just so impressed with them. I've not seen anybody else's that's the same kind of I mean, everything's always a compromise, isn't it? So I could get one of them canister lights that goes on for 38 hours run time and lights the sun. I don't need that. The handheld LEDs now have got plenty of life on the for me. So 3 or 4 hour run time, enough to do a weekend on a charge. I'm probably good, to be honest with you. And then I've not got another cable to worry about, another battery, and quite frankly, the finances to deal with a canister light. So it'll probably be something like that, to be honest with you. It might be another metal sub, unless anybody's watching this running the manufacturers wants to send me one and try and persuade me. Then we'll give it a whirl, won't we? But I think it probably will be. I think the other thing is, it is probably the back end of the year. It will be a new dry suit. For anybody who's been following the socials, I've not really banged on about it too much, because it always feels a bit weird, people saying, oh, well done, for not eating. But I've lost 11 kilos in the last 10 weeks. So I've slimmed right down. On Sunday, I had to kind of chuck a third of my wardrobe away, which meant I've got to replace a third of my wardrobe, so that's even more money. But I've got some definite targets this year to hit. South Africa is really important to me. I want to be able to get back on that boat myself, rather than having to have people drag my fat ass up on there. So it's not about a weight target. I just want to be able to do that. So that's where we're going. I'm my program includes starting the gym very shortly. But again, with such big weight loss, the dry suit is not going to fit very well for too much longer. So, and anybody who's dove in a crap fitting dry suit knows that it's not great for your buoyancy. It's not great for anything else. So, yeah, probably back end of the year, I'll be tapping up the bank balance again and going over to have a look at a new dry suit. When I was over in Boot the other day, there was a great deal of dry suits there, which were very, very nice. DUI and all the usual ones, Santi, which are ridiculously expensive, I've got to be honest. But there was also some interesting European makes. I don't know if anyone's heard of one called Seawolf by a Polish company. They look really, really smart and really, really competitively priced as well. And if I didn't live like 40 minutes away from Otta, I'd be really tempted to go and get one of them. They were really doing the sales pitch, and I was really, really falling for it, I've got to be honest with you. And if I'd got a bit more cash in my back pocket, I might have come away with one. But I don't think John and team over at Otter would forgive me if I bought any other one. And I've had that good service off them over the last few years that I'd probably be doing myself a disservice as well by not getting one. So yeah, it'll probably be an Atlantic with all the bells and whistles, maybe minus the P valve, because since we've got rid of the rib, and I've not done a lot of rib diving, I've not really used that. But we'll see. We'll see. Depends what the price is. If John does me a good deal, we might have one fitted as well. But yeah, so that's it for the next couple of bits of kit, I think. So I think so. Let's just go back to the comments. Not teaching suck eggs, but it just come naturally. I hope so, Brian. Yeah, I hope so. It is. It's getting a little bit better. I was diving with Matt the other weekend, and I kept sort of sinking down every time we turned below. Turned around. I think I was about 3 meters below him. Kept filling up and doing all this kind of thing. So it is coming. It is coming. So hopefully it's hi Dinger, you're right. Did I get any video of the boot show? I did get some video of the boot show, mate, to be honest with you. And I think like a lot of dive show, I've got back and I've sort of reviewed it, and it's just all a kind of a bit of a jumble, to be honest with you. And I'm not sure I'm gonna make a video for the channel on it, if that makes any sense. I don't think there's enough to make a sort of coherent video. It's just sort of bits and bats that I saw. So I think what I'm going to do, pal, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to do it as a blog for the website with a few links to some of the more interesting bits to it as well. And then I'll do a review of the show sort of in the text bit as well, because it was really good. I really enjoyed aspects of it. Germany overall, bit of a pig. It wasn't nice to me. It wasn't kind to me. We had a lot of issues with the accommodation, and basically we were due to fly out, and then they messaged me and said, well, I messaged them and they said, oh no, we don't rent that accommodation anymore, and that led to a load of chaos, which didn't make it very good. The show I was pretty impressed with. Certainly big enough, lots of people there, all that kind of stuff. For me, I don't know, it just lacked a little bit of soul. And what I mean by that is I've always enjoyed the UK dive show, and again, it's why I do these things, because I like meeting you guys, I like chatting with you guys. It's the people that you meet, and at the dive show, you meet people that you've not seen in ages. You know what I mean? It's proper sense of community. You're always bumping into people you know and saying hi and this kind of the other. And obviously in Germany there wasn't anybody. I was a stranger, and they were all strangers to me. So it was a good dive show. It was very business to businessy. I could have come away with quite a few distributor contracts. I went over with the camera and was taking all the shots, and I'd got the UKDiver logoed everything, basically, hat, hoodie, the lot. And it was like, oh, have you got a dive shop over there? Because we could send you some stuff over and this, that, and the other. So yeah, perhaps I do need to open a dive shop. I don't know. It sounds like work though, that, doesn't it? But yeah, it was very good. But yeah, so probably a blog, mate. So if you're not signed up, do sign up to the website. Click on the little pop-up box asking for the mail thing. I don't spam. Okay, you only get stuff when I remember to send it about new blogs, new videos, and the new stuff that I'm gonna get up to as well. So yeah. And then Matt reckons I'm gonna get a sidewind after seeing his. I'm not, mate. No, I'm spent up. So sorry. And thank you, David. Thank you for the well done. Yeah, it doesn't feel like well done. I just don't eat. So like normal people don't eat. So, but no, I appreciate that. I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Am I going to the dive show in March? Yes, I'm going to the dive show in March, the Go Diving show. I'm there for both days. And I'm also having a meal meetup thing on the Saturday night for anybody who's staying over or anybody that wants to join. Details of that will be coming out, but only if you're signed up to the website and signed up to the mailing list. I will send details out of where and when, but it will be on the Saturday night. So if you fancy that, get signed up, get the details, and I hope to see you there. So anyway, guys, we are kind of 35 minutes in. So I asked you that question earlier about dive boats. And the reason I asked is because a few weeks ago, I got into it with Claire Dutton from Dutter's Divers, who runs Vivian Quarry. And I went and did, that's the last that I went and did the full face try dive with. If you don't know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check the previous videos. But I wanted to try a full face mask, and I went over there to go and do it. And the reason I got into it with her is because they've bought a new hard boat, and they're running some hard boat out of North Anglesey there, or there. And I was like, oh, that's really good. You know, that's a bit of the UK I've not really done a lot of diving on. I've done Anglesey a few times, but mainly, you know, the shore stuff, the ocean diver stuff with students. And I thought it'd be really good to get out on the boat. And I was really excited about it until it said on the guff that she does that the boat's got a ladder. And I'm just thinking, well, that's a bit naff. I've got to be honest with you. You know, dive ladders are a bit naff when you're diving abroad and you're just in a wetsuit and a single and things are really light. But, you know, over here in the UK with you know, dry suits and 8 ton of lead and twins and stages and that kind of stuff, I thought it was a bit pox. So I just kind of mentioned it that I was excited about this until I read the bit was a ladder. And yeah, she kind of like flew at me, I've got to be honest. So I'm assuming people have mentioned this before and said, you know, perhaps it's a better idea to get a lift, but really, like, you know, super aggressive, which I don't respond to very well, I've got to be honest. So I tried to sort of, you know, tone it down and sort of like, you know, well, you know, I think you should speak to some other skippers, you know what I mean, and see whether they think that having a lift's a really like important bit. And, you know, and she kept coming back with, well, you know, if anybody needs help, they'll get assistance, you know. And then there was the sort of the subtext about, you know, well, if you weren't so fat, and, you know, you'd be able to get up the ladder yourself and that kind of stuff, which, you know, I'm kind of used to, but I thought was a smidge on the low side. But you know, it's just odd, and I just wanted your guys' feeling, you know. Would you book on that boat with a ladder? Would you be comfortable climbing up a, you know, what's going to be a pretty steep ass ladder up the side of a boat that's probably, you know, not too low? We're not talking like Egyptian liverboard, are we? You know, where it's like really flat to the water. This thing's going to be quite high and rocking around in the middle of the, you know, Irish Sea / Liverpool Bay. So anyway, I just kind of left it as, look, you know, good luck with the 2023 season, but, you know, for 2024, you know, think about getting a dive lift and book on. But I just didn't know if it was me being a bit, you know, I don't know, princessy. So yeah, so what's your guys' thoughts? Dive ladder in the UK on a boat, good idea, bad idea? Leave a comment down below, just for me to know. So anyway, one of the questions I've got is quite interesting, and I've not really been asked it before, but somebody asked me, why did I start UKDiver? Because I was bored. So I'd been uploading videos to YouTube for a little while before. I mean, if you scroll really far back, you'll see that I've been just doing videos. And again, it was mainly for friends and family, or, you know, just like, you know, because you always get that question, what's the scene in the UK? That's ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. So I just took my GoPro and I did videos. And then the other thing that I do, the other thing I did it for was for me. So I've got something called, not, I've got something, it makes it sound like a disease. I am an aphant. So what that means is I don't have a great memory. Okay. I don't visualize stuff. I can't close my eyes and see stuff. So the problem for me is I remember something happened, and I can sort of remember bits of it, but I can't visualize it, can't see it. So things like, a year down the line, I don't really remember too well. So for me, it's about recording stuff as like a diary for me. So that's why I started doing the YouTube, and then it went over to do UKDiver when just over COVID, because there was bugger all else left to do, was there? We were locked inside. There was nothing else to do. I'd done a few sort of tutorials, I guess, kind of thing, best that I could, with a slightly crappy GoPro and not much lighting or anything. So, and it just kind of grew from there, really. And I don't like take it too seriously. I don't like taking myself too seriously. And I'm certainly, I've got plenty of experience, but I would never call myself an expert or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? You do your own thing, and I'll tell you whether I like it or not. But that's it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, that's all it is. And I like the buzz it's created, and I like the bit of community that we've kind of got together. There's 14 of you sat here on a Thursday night listening to some fat lad in Pontefract talk. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of fun bit. You're not paying me for anything. I don't owe you anything. It's just here divers having a bit of a chat and seeing what the crack is of the world, that kind of thing. And you just follow me on some of my stupid exploits, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. So that's really why I started it. It certainly it certainly doesn't make me a lot of money. Certainly not. I got monetized possibly, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. I think I'm the 3rd month into monetization. And just to let you know, YouTube will only pay you out when you've hit £60 worth of, ad revenue. And I'm 3 months in and I haven't been paid out yet. I'm not expecting to get paid out this month either. So without going into precise figures, which I don't have, it really doesn't make any money at all, which is why, if anybody, sort of clicks the PayPal donate button and bungs me a couple of quid there, it really is appreciated, because, the cameras, the lights, the microphone that we're wearing now, that was 250 quid. It all comes out of my pocket. Do you know what I mean? I really don't reckon it costs me a fortune to do this kind of thing for you guys. I do it because I enjoy doing it. And I enjoy doing it for you guys. It's certainly not about making any money, and it's not about sort of making anything out of you guys. So yeah, that's it. So that's why I did it. Right, a few comments. So warm up, as a fat lad with twins, I'd struggle. Yeah, and the same with me, mate. To be honest with you, unless a crane had a boat to lift the kit up separately. Interesting, yeah. Yeah, same with me. I just wouldn't fancy doing it. With fins on, boat rocking around. It doesn't sound appealing to me, which is the point I was trying to get across. The current buzzword within the industry seems to be the human diver lectures run by Gareth Locke, who wrote Under Pressure, which I know is limited but seems very interesting thoughts. Yeah, I've heard of Gareth Locke. I can't say, David, that I've read anything or followed too much about it. I get what he kind of gets into is, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, pal, but he's always all about, the human element in diving accidents, which is probably quite interesting. And, it's, yeah, I just don't know too much about it, so I can't really give you my thoughts on it. It might be something that I sort of get the book or have a look at some of his stuff, but I think that's what he is. With regards to human factors in accidents, I think there are accidents because we're human. We all make mistakes in all walks of life, and anybody who says they never have is a big fat liar. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting aspect. And again, I guess the work will be to reduce that kind of thing. And the thing with that is we're doing it all the time. We engineer systems so we can't make mistakes. So if you take the horizon that I'm diving on the breathing loop, there's 2 connectors. And they could have made them exactly the same, but they didn't. They made one smaller than the other, and one's grey and one's red. So pillocks like me can't get them backwards. Yeah, simple as that. So we've engineered out that human factor of Andy could balls that up and put the loop on the wrong way around. So let's make it so the dickhead can't. And I think from that point of view. It's got to be about training, hasn't it? It's got to be about education. It's got to be about practice, and you know, a lot of it's got to do with engineering out the possibility of mistakes. So I think that's kind of thing. So, but yeah, I might put that on my bucket list, mate, of stuff to look in a bit more of. Scuba life, yeah, I'd still book on their side mount because I just am like, oh, whatever, Matt, you side mounter. Interesting things. Yeah, I've got to be honest. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't book on a boat with a ladder because I can just imagine if the weather picks up and the boat starts rocking. I've been on boats with lifts where if it started rocking, and it was a bit sketchy getting up on it. So personally, I just wouldn't. If they get a dive lift in 2024, I'll book on because I'd love to explore that part of the world a bit more. But I'm not gonna do it on. I'm not climbing a ladder. It's as simple as that. I don't care if I get down to 10 stone and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not doing it. Thank you. Oh, right. Warm Apple has reminded me. Club night. Yes. Okay. So, second question I've got for you guys. So, there's 14 of you here at the moment. And this is kind of weird for me because with these live streams, I'm talking to you and you can chat to me in the chat box, but it's a little bit one-sided, if you know what I mean. So, what I am proposing to do for you guys, if you're interested, is I have set up a Patreon account. The idea being, again, not to milk you with loads of money, unless you want to pay me, but for a couple of quid, then we can do what I'd like to set up, if you're interested, is like a virtual once a month club night where we have a topic and we can discuss it. Now, obviously, this can't be open to like everybody, which is why I'm charging a couple of quid, because hopefully that'll put off enough people. That sounds a really bad thing to say, doesn't it? But you know, it'll let the people that are really interested in the, you know, not the swayers come by, and we can have a chat. So the idea would be, you know, like a Teams meeting. Do you know what I mean? If that doesn't put you off already, but basically, you know, just like a virtual club night where we just sit and chew the fat and we talk about a particular topic. What I'll do is for the Patreons that sign up, then I'll put a suggested, you know, sort of maybe 2 or 3 topics up, and then we can have a vote and see whichever one wins. That'll be the topic for that particular month. So yeah, do let me know down in the comments or in the chat now whether that would be good. I will be launching that in the next couple of weeks. So again, if you want to find out about that, I'm probably not going to do a YouTube video about it. You do need to go to the website, www.ukdiver.co.uk. And sign up to the mailing list. And what I will do is I'll send a mail shot out with the link to go there, and you can check out the various tiers. So that's what's going to be. So I think I've got 3 tiers. I've set it up, and again, I'll have a play with these, see what I think. But for £2 a month, you get the virtual club night. The next one, you get virtual club night and early access to the wife's hats. I'm having some polo shirts done, so if that's your kind of thing, you can pay a bit more. And then there'll be a top tier, of which I think there's only 5 spaces. And if you do that, you get all the, you know, all the below kind of thing. Plus, what I'd like to do, I really like to do, because we're a set of divers, is I will look at organising some trips, and you'll get first dibs on those trip spaces, and we can go and actually do what we sit here and talk about, and that's go and do some diving. And I'm thinking maybe, you know, like a little trip to Malta, or, you know, and some UK stuff. So whatever. So have a look at it, see what you think, feedback to me. If you think it's a load of dross, then that's fine. I just won't bother with it. But if you're interested in it, then I will send the link out. But like I say, do sign up to the website, the mailing list, because I'm not going to broadcast this out to the world. I really only want it to be the guys that can be bothered to turn up for these things. You know, the real sort of, I don't say hardcore, because that makes it sound a bit, you know, not super expert. It's not. I don't care what you dive, who you are, you know what I mean? But I just don't want people like, you know, just turning up who are not really part of the community. So yeah, do check that out as and when I launch it. Like I say, hopefully the next couple of weeks. I just want to get a few things smoothed out and a few things ready for you guys. To be honest, I'm not really paying for absolutely nothing while I get it set up. So I may as well get it set up first, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So let me work on that. But like I say, do get signed up to the mailing list. That costs you nothing. And like I say, don't spam you. You won't hear from me unless there's something new coming out. So yeah, get signed up to that. And let me know, like seriously, let me know whether you think that's going to be worth it or not. So club night, yeah. Thank you, David. I appreciate the appreciation, mate. I really do. Is there any chance this could be put as a video for later? It is, mate. It is. I think it is. It certainly is, because there's only like 12 or 13 people on here, but like the last one got like another 100 and something views afterwards. So I think it does come up. Sorry, this is in response to Diving Matt's video. I got a couple of friends who'll be watching it later. Cool. Brilliant. Yeah, so it does go out as a recorded video, mate, and they can watch it as and when it just goes into the thing. You might have to click on mine anyway, on the channel. I've got videos, and this comes under live, so I don't know if this goes up. But again, get them to subscribe to the mailing list, pal, because as soon as this is done, probably tomorrow now, I will send a link out so people can watch it. So again, the best way to keep in touch with anything now is sign up to the mailing list, because that's just the easy way for me to get in touch with everybody. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, do point him to the link. I'm sure it'll be in YouTube somewhere. So no problem with that. Dave Diver, no lift not the best, but there are many other options in the area. I struggled to find any recently when I like. Well, that's it, Dave Diver. The North Wales area is not really well served, so I really thought, Dutton's Divers. I know they had the little, had a rib called Little Viv, and then they've obviously got Vivian Quarry. So they're doing quite a lot out there, and I was really, I was super buzzed about it, to be honest. I was really excited, but the ladder thing was just like, this is 2022, 2023. Sorry, I'm behind it. 2023. Dive lifts were invented back in the late 80s, early 90s. It just seems a very retrospective step to me to be putting a boat out there with a ladder, and very much sort of single cylinder orientated. So it just seems a bit weird to me. But anyway, there we are. So Brian says, brilliant read, Under Pressure by Gareth. It really gets you thinking. Right, okay, well, a couple of recommendations on that there then. So I will get it on the book list, and I'll get that sorted. Is the link on your website? I'm assuming you mean for the Patreon thing. No, it's not yet, mate, but it will be. Get yourself signed up to the mailing list, and you'll find out about it. Okay, good. Yeah, brilliant idea. Okay, Brian. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I appreciate that, mate. That'd be cracking. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you like it as an idea. So we'll see how it goes. Like I say, give me a bit of time to get it set up, because I don't want anybody paying anything before I've got something to give you back for your payment. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, this is not about me making a fortune. So let me get it set up. Like I say, get signed up to the mailing list. I've said that before. So that's what you need to do. Did they say no? They're not looking to fit a lift. They're quite happy with the ladder, apparently, which I thought was a bit odd. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see whether they do get a lift. And weirdly, I saw one advertised in Wales a few days ago for 1,800 quid a boat lift. So I nearly sort of pointed it out to him and said, look, you can get one there. But I thought that would probably put me in the bad books even more, because I don't think she likes me anymore, which is a bit odd. But anyway, there we go. Cool. So I think that's it for the comments for a bit. So where are we? We're at 52 minutes. So don't want to keep you guys for too much longer. Let's just have a look. What else have I got? So last sort of question, I guess, on this thing, guys, is probably somebody asked me, Steve-O, first dive computer. What was my first dive computer, and what would I recommend to a newbie today? So the first bit's easy. I started with a Cressy Leonardo, which I bought off a club member, for dirt cheap, basically. She bought a OSTC Sport, which is very nice. And basically it was just sat around doing nothing. So I think she charged me like 20 quid for it. And it did me sort of the first 2 years of my diving perfectly happy. And yeah, I had no problems with it. Pretty easy to read. The old monochrome screens that you still get and are fine. There's nothing wrong with them as long as you can see them. And so that's what I had, and it did me a good couple of years. And once I'd used it for a couple of years, I sold it on again, and I know the person was diving for a couple of years with that as well. So where it ended up, I have no idea. But yeah, really good solid dive computer, to be honest with you. I then progressed to a Sunto Viper, which I didn't find quite as easy to use as the Cressy, I've got to be honest. But you know, again, as a dive computer, perfectly adequate. It kept me safe. Again, easy to read. I just didn't find the buttons and menu system quite as easy to use as the Cressy. And then for the last few years, when I went up to doing sort of technical diving and needed something that I could gas switch with, I bought myself an OSTC Sport, which I absolutely love, and is a cracking little dive computer. Would I have liked a Shearwater? Possibly, but they were literally twice the price, and did, you know, the same thing. And my OSTC is still going strong. It's now my backup computer for when I use the Horizon, and my primary dive computer when I'm teaching, which I'm doing over the next few weeks. So you're not going to see a lot of content from me in the next couple of weeks because I've got some ocean diver training to do, which I said I wasn't doing again. I'm not really doing. I'm supervising an instructor who's doing the teaching. So I'm teaching the instructor who's doing the teaching. So the fact that the guy's going to get his ocean diver is kind of almost by accident kind of thing. So that makes sense. And then I've got some advanced ocean diver teaching to do down at Stony Cove a couple of weeks after that. So busy, unfortunately not on the horizon, not doing anything particularly exciting, I'm afraid. I've just got to get on with it. And then apart from that, I've got then a whole club to do mixed gas blending with once I go and pick these O2. They're not J's anymore, they're XLs. These two O2 XLs up on Saturday for the club. I've got all that to do as well. So extremely busy, but nothing particularly entertaining. I'll see if I can squeeze something out maybe about doing some gas blending. We shall see. But if anybody's got anything they want to see particularly, then do let me know. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I hope you find this session interesting, and I really thank you very much for your interaction in the comments. It's been really great to talk to you all. I hope I see you out on a dive soon. I don't know if you've seen, but I bought this bloody great big flag thing off a company down in Cornwall called Dive Flags, I think. No, it's not Dive Flags. That'd be wrong. That'd be a bit bizarre. Sail flags or something like that. But the reason I picked them is because these things are all made out of ocean plastic. They take ocean plastic and they turn it into these things, these flags and this, that, and the other. So there's no virgin plastic in it at all. So I think it was, I think it's a cracking way of doing things. So I'm really pleased with the flag. I think it looks pretty cool. But wherever I am, not when I'm probably teaching, but if I've got a bit of time and I can chat to you, I will put the flag up. If you do see it, do come and say hello. I did have down in Stony the other day when we were with Matt, a few people rock up because they say they're seeing the flag, and it was really good to have a chat with them, see about what their club's doing, what they're diving doing, what they dive, and just have a bit of chat. So it was really good. So if you do see it, do come over and say hello. I've still got a pile of stickers for your dive box I can give you, so you can stick one of them out, and we'll do a little selfie, and you will see the guys that I met in the upcoming video, because I will always give you a shout out on a video, because I think it's just a brilliant thing to be doing, and I love meeting you guys in the flesh as well and having a chat. So yeah, anyway, that's it, guys. I'm probably going to call it on that, to be honest with you. I've got through most of the questions. I've got through my questions for you. So we've got a thumbs up for the club night, or give it a whirl, and a mixed bag for the ladders. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But do check out Dutton Diver's website, and if you do fancy going to North Wales, then do check him out. If the ladder bit doesn't bother you, then you know, I found the rest of the service down there absolutely perfect. It was just that little bit, you know, it's just the ladder for me. Just the ladder. As soon as they get a lift, I'm going to be there like a shot. So we shall see. But yeah, all right then, guys. See you later, Brian. Catch you one weekend on Stony. Yep, just let me know when you're going to be there, Brian, and I will let you know again. Just one last flag, or let's plug the website. Sign up to the mailing list. If you sign up to the mailing list, I try and give everybody sort of a month's notice of this is where I'm going to be at these dates. So, you know, if you're there, then you know to look for the flag already. But that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to drink some tea. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic couple of weeks. And I will see you, as always, on the next one.